So I've really liked TUYA knives for a very long time. They make amazing knives, and here we have a new design from them, and this is designed by Dave Warren. Awesome guy. Shout out to Dave Warren. And it is another banger from them. They did a really good job. I'm really liking this one. This is the TUYA Wrath. And the TUYA Wrath comes in, I think, 6 different options or different versions. So if you don't like the diamond pattern, they have a frag pattern and then like somewhat like a seashell pattern or something. So there's lots of different options and different flavors. And when you open this thing up, it has a beautiful S90V dual ground drop point blade with a satin finish. And this satin finish, man, oh my god, I love it. I think that's just gorgeous to me. Nice deep hollow grind here, nice robust flat grind up here, beautiful swedge on the top. I've been very critical of TUYA and their plunge grinds and sharpening tools. They did a good job with this one. Starts here, ends here, so there's plenty of life to sharpen off. Very happy with that because, like I said, I've been very critical over it. S90V, like I said, phenomenal steel. I love S90V. It's probably in my top 7 favorite knives, or favorite knife steels. It holds an insane edge, like for a very long time, and it is plenty stainless, so you know it's very corrosion resistant for a steel that holds an insane edge and takes a really sharp edge too. So S90V, very happy to see that. This titanium diamond pattern, it's very deep, so you really feel it. It's nice and deep. I love that. Love that. And you know, I know the other patterns are going to be the same way. Now let's talk about this action. We'll talk about everything else. Well, titanium mill pocket clip and backspacer. We'll talk about those in a second. So the front flipper, perfectly well executed front flipper. Not only does it have the exact kind of jimping I want on every single front flipper I can get, because this is the type of jimping that's actually catchy. Like without me even trying to front flip it, like just rubbing the front flipper, it catches you. It's like literally like catching my finger rather than my finger having to sit there and apply pressure. It's like you just got to touch it and try and that thing will flip. Very catchy jimping. And then the detent is strong, but perfect for this front flipper. I mean, I can do all the tricks nice and comfortably. And you know, like I said, because the jimping's so catchy, it's like you can just rub that front flipper. And yeah, the detent is perfect for this front flipper. And you know, like I said, you can do all the other little tricks with it. Then you have these thumb studs. Now the detent feels a little bit stouter with the thumb studs, and I don't know if it's just the position or them being so close to the scales, but they do feel a little bit stronger for the thumb studs, but really good. I mean, it's really good. Detent is perfectly well executed. The thumb stud action is just as good as the front flipping action, or at least close to it. So yeah, really good. And then you have the access to the lock bar, which they cut out really well, and they chamfered it with nice jimping on there. Very comfortable disengagement. It is so comfortable, and I always say that, you know, the access to the lock bar can make or break a knife. You can have the most beautiful, perfect knife in the world, and you mess up that lock bar access, at least for me, it will drive me nuts. I hate it. So I love it when I see good execution there. Now, as far as the drop goes, the detent, you know, it's a little bit on the later side, but it doesn't have a flipper, so it's easy to get past. So you can just let it drop down and hit your thumb, and then drop the rest of the way. It is riding on ceramic caged bearings. Very smooth. Oh, I forgot to mention, this thing has a Damascus pivot collar. It's kind of hard to pick up because it's such a small cut of Damascus, which is kind of cool because a lot of people don't like a ton of pop of color, and this has a very little subtle amount of color. You know, just a little tiny pop. And, you know, you can barely tell it's Damascus, but it is. The clip is a titanium mill pocket clip, you know, like we said before, only one screw, but it must be inset because it is super duper solid. T8 hardware all the way around except for the steel lock bar insert. Very happy with that. There's a lot to like here. It's really good. The ergonomics This is a perfect size knife. So this is a 3.3 inch blade. I would have thought it was a 3.5 inch blade, but it's a 3.3 inch blade, 7.5 inches overall, I think 3.8 ounces overall, because it does have a lot of milling on the inside to bring down the weight, you know, plus all the machining, you know, and the machining on the blade definitely helps as well. But the size of it is perfectly sized for my hand. I mean, I can get a perfect grip and still spread out if I really wanted to, but very comfortable choking back here. Yeah, I'm a little bit away from the edge, but I can always choke up if I need to. And because it's not a flipper or a regular flipper, you could turn it around and cut straps. The pinch grips are going to be great. The spine is really comfortable in the palm of your hand. So I think this is probably the most liked or most wanted size knife as far as pocket knives go, because it's a full size knife without being too large, and it's definitely not small or too small. So let's talk about some negatives, because there is a couple little tiny dumb nitpicks. Well, maybe some of them aren't dumb. One is, I wish they would have put the cutout for the lock bar right here on the inside, because it's right under the clip, and you already got to deal with this diamond texturing, which is heavy. So, you know, the clip's not going to be the smoothest in and out of the pocket for that reason. Not only because of the texturing, but you have this in the way as well. That should be on the inside. Now, the clip is not like, it doesn't have like super strong tension, but it's still, you know, you're going over this cut diamond pattern, so, you know, it's going to be a little gritty. Not horrible, but, you know, it definitely could be better. Now, another thing with the clip is there's less room under the deepest part than it is under the beginning. It kind of ramps up a little bit. I'm surprised that they did that rather than lift this up back here a little bit, so that, because the seam of your pockets, now I'm not saying it's too tight, it'll work for most people's jeans, but if you have really, really thick pocket seams, it might get a little tight. I think it'll still fit, I'm sure it'll still fit, but it's going to be a little bit tight up there. So, but 99.99% of everybody's pants will slip in just fine. The next thing, and to be honest, this one, I don't even think I'm going to bitch about, but the thumb studs, you know, I'm so used to other knives with thumb studs that are bald like this, that have no texturing on them, being slippery and me slipping off of them. These seem to work really, really well, even though they don't have texturing. So my instincts tell me to bitch. My instincts tell me complain about it, it needs texturing, you know, but for some reason they work really, really good regardless. So I'm not going to complain about it, but just know, like, you know, maybe for you, you might want to have texture, but man, it almost feels like it has texturing. It's kind of weird how like this edge, like it just, like, it's like it has something that's catchy. It works good. But normally I would bitch about that. Oh man, I'm reaching here. I know I'm reaching. The next thing, now this last one, it's stupid, but the lanyard hole, I wish it was just like a pin, like a hidden pin in the backspacer. I don't like the hole there. It just kind of breaks up the design. It's such a sexy looking knife. It's such a damn good looking knife. Now, I am gonna say one other thing, but it's not a complaint on the knife whatsoever. But I would love to see them do a lower tipped drop point blade. A drop point blade similar to this, maybe a full hollow grind, but something with a lower tip, because when tips are up this high, you do have to lift your elbow up really high to get to the tip, which makes you lose leverage in your cut. So if the tip is down here, you don't have to lift your elbow up very high, leaving tons of leverage for utility cuts. Being an EDC knife, I think it's important to be able to use the tip of the knife. Now, this one will still work. You can still use it, so I don't want to make it seem like it's not possible to use it or anything like that. But I would love to see them do a low-tipped drop point, because a lot of their knives seem like they're mostly like straight backs. And this isn't a straight back, it is a drop point, but it's very close to a straight back. But it's not, it is a drop point. But I would love to see the tip be center line with the pivot or lower, like a spear point or lower, I think would be amazing. Not a big deal. This thing is gonna slice like a beast. It's gonna slice like a champ. It's gonna work just fine. You know, and with this nice deep hollow grind, you're gonna be able to trap materials into that section, because that's what a lot of dual grinds do. Now, price tag. Price tag's around 250 bucks. I think that's a perfect price tag. I think that's great. No complaints with that. Great price tag, or, you know, at least good. It's decent. It's not horrible. It's S90V with this beautiful diamond textured pattern. Not mad at 250 at all. But anyways, Dave Warren did an incredible job with this design. Work hard, stay tough. Society's relying on you. Until next time, peace.